Hello, everybody. Once again, I am Lehman Crafton Jr., aka Zorval Chan, Less Than Guru, with day 20 of the 31-day character creation challenge. So today I will be doing Ars Magica 3rd edition, and this is actually the only edition that I've ever played. It was pretty compatible with 1st and 2nd edition. I remember, and I still have some of the adventures and source books and things for, I believe, the 2nd edition, and they worked very well with this edition. Um, After I stopped playing this game, my group, independent of me, because we all have different times that we could do things, they started playing at one time 4th edition. I don't know if they ever did 5th edition, but this was a game that we really got into for a short period of time. My book is actually really well worn. I know that when I this was one of those books that was outside of a roll a d20 or outside of Torg, that I really enjoyed a lot. But this also, to me, came with that thing that I don't like of the. I call it my group versus your group. It can be, and here it was houses, mage houses, and like in L5R, it was clans and vampires. It's bloodline, and Seventh Sea, it's nation. But basically, it's the why am I, as a person from this group, working with these people from other groups when pretty much they all hate each other. They like bring it up, and they might grudgingly respect the other, but they're all for their own group. And when everybody's trying to be something different, and you have it set into the game where you distrust and you dislike other people for no other reason besides they're from that house. I'm from uh, the house Flambeau, which is a fire and death, major fire, minor death aspect, and I hate everybody from every other house. So it's one of those where I, if I ever do any of these type of games in the future, I will definitely try to separate the the setting and stigma from houses from the actual gameplay and mechanics. So I wouldn't necessarily say, hey, if you're a flambeau mage, you hate everybody else because of this, this, and this type thing. So basically, that's my little mini rant at the beginning. But this was a system that I really liked. It was a system that um, introduced me to trope play, I guess you could say. I had been in before this, had been in like the fantasy club at Purdue, where you did have multiple game masters, and one week you might game master, one week you might play, and it was all within the same world. But here you could do that a little more fluidly, and you could have multiple characters. You're normally you would make a mage, a magus, or and a companion, and every mage had a companion that fit with that mage, and you could have different combinations of companions and mages. So you wouldn't pick, like, you if I picked the flambeau mage, I would not make the companion to the flambeau mage. I would have another player would make their companion, and that would be for my flambeau mage. My companion would be for somebody else's mage, and that kind of gave a link between players, so you could play a character that actually liked the person. Now, again, the whole overall thing I disliked, but at least that gave you some type of connection, and then you would determine at the beginning of a plot line or mission or adventure, whatever you want to call it, which one is better, the, my mage to go on this or my companion to go on this. But sometimes you would want to say, oh, I want both of them to go on this. So that's just a little background for it. You also had common people, they call them grogs, I think, which were basically minions, people that you could do. But there was lots of different characters, and everybody participated in it. And I think that was a fun thing. You could have a lot of politics, and as well, you could have a lot of role play without actually rolling dice or anything, just talking and building and designing stuff like that. This here is an official character sheet. It came with a pack, and I have apparently a few of these left. The problem is, as you can see, it's very dark. It's so dark that when I went to copy it, because I don't want to use my last couple of papers, I went to copy it and it made it even darker. And I always remember that when I did this, it was hard to read pencil on it too. And every gamer knows you don't want to use ink because anything can change, even your name, even your date of birth, whatever, anything and everything possibly can change within a role playing game, and that darkness. So I basically had to copy the character sheet and then adjust contrast and brightness. And it's not wonderful, but at least I should be able to read pencil on that. And basically, when I found some old character sheets, it seems like I did that back then. I found one that had the original character, and I could barely read any of the words. And then I found one that actually, whatever copier I used, I was able to get it a little better. I just didn't want to mess with it very much today. So we're going to make a character. I am going to go against the grain once I realize that, hey, there is those whole companion characters. And I want to make a companion character because, one, time. I don't have to pick out spells. So sorry. And two, time. I don't really want to spend time picking out spells. Uh, these character creation, I like them. I'm enjoying them. They're giving me memories and flashbacks of good times, but they eat up a lot of time, and I know they're eating up your time by watching it. And I really appreciate it if you're watching this. I wasn't able to do it this week, but I want to start hopefully next week, which would be in 2 days, Torg Tuesdays, where I get into some Torg, either original Torg and or Torg Eternity things. I think there's a lot of D&D channels out there, and it seems my tour content gets a little more, and that's probably what you know me as. So I figured, as well as doing reviews and things like this for other game systems, I'll at least have one day every week that I'm able that kind of focuses on Torg. So that's just my thoughts currently. So let's open this book and dig in. This was a black and white book. It was during the White Wolf phase. Um, another, I can't remember, the another game had this. White Wolf bought it. They took a couple of the one of the houses, Tremere, turned it into a vampire clan. They kind of set it up in here. This is a supposedly a mythical middle age. They call it a specific thing, mythic Europe or something like that, which is basically the history of our uh, Middle Ages Europe, but it's where people's belief in magic and stuff like that actually come true. So that is kind of the premise. This isn't a fantasy world in the setting. You could use these rules in an actual fantasy world. I think that they probably would work out pretty well. They do have a lot of just templates. Like if you just want to grab something, you can grab something and just work with it. I do remember the spells were kind of cool. You could kind of take a base template of a spell and kind of make it your own. I remember I was Flambeau. It's just I like the fire, 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 fire. Um, but it was something that what do I want to say? I took a fireball spell and I turned it into like a flaming skull. So the effect was exactly the same, but when you would do spells, you had some type of signature, and I don't remember if they actually called it signature or not. But all your spells would be like if people knew who you were and what that thing was, your signature and a smell. It could be a color, it could be a flavor, it could be a smell, it could be a visual thing. Mine was a skull type thing, and that would be in it, so you could kind of you could kind of add that little flavor to your Magic, which I thought was cool. Um, White Wolf did sell this. They were able to keep, I guess, Tremere for Vampire, but they sold this to another group. That company is the one that made the fourth edition, which a lot of people in my gaming groups went through. Um, but I didn't. I was invested enough into third edition that sometimes I'm just an old grognard, and it's like in my day we didn't have a fourth edition. Third edition was good enough because I didn't get first or second edition with this. If I got those, I might have thought that way. I'm not always that way. I do like updates. I love Toward Eternity, and that's the current update and stuff. It's just sometimes it's like too close, I guess. Like when I just put money into this, and a couple years later, it gets a new one. Yeah, I probably got this much later than when it was actually published, but that's just how things go. So, yeah, Grogs, that's what the name was. So types of characters were the mages, McGee, companions, Grogs. And you had a different number of experience or points or whatever they called them here. Basic character creation. Of all of these Grog locations. And then companion location. They're showing these as just normal, I don't know, templates that you just pull out, and if you want to play, you play. Oh, and you'd have a fighting force. That's right. They were called a turb. Um, I remember that. You have a turb leader. I just read that. That's kind of memories coming back. Okay, so that was simple. Simple is just grab a template and go. So again, I would love to do that. That would make this video a lot shorter and easily managed, but it would just be me writing everything down. But I want to actually do a little character creation, even though I haven't been doing optional things or armor and weapons and equipment for a lot of things. So conceptualization, have no idea. Characteristics. So there's supposed to be here it is. Maximum number of flaw points. That's not maximum number of points. Okay, if you're I love these games. These games make me feel so bad. When I played these games in my 20, I had no idea of things. But here is, I'm just reading. At first, I thought it meant my age is a real age, but where it is. If you are over, in fact, if you're over 35, you may have to make aging rolls before the start of the game. These pre-game rolls do not mean your character dies before being played, but poor rolls might result in the effects of decrepitude. Once your age is determined, you can figure out the date of birth based on the year, blah, blah, blah. As a 47-year-old, yes, I am not as spry as I might have been sometimes in my 20s, but I do know for a fact I am better shape than I was in my 30s and possibly even my late 20s. I am no spring chicken by any means, but to say that I would have some type of aging, and if you tell me that, oh, back then the average, life expectancy was only 30 or 35 or whatever, so that makes sense. No, it doesn't. That means that there was a ton of infant deaths that balanced out. People, even back in Alexander the Great, he died 33, they said he died young. It was because you either lived to be really, really old, or you had infant mortalities, or you died from violence from wars and stuff when you were a teenager or in your 20s. If you made it long, you have people like Augustus, you have Alexander's generals of Parmenio and Antipater, and all of them, I believe even, not my forte, but I think even Charlemagne, they ended up 70s, 80s, easily, without question. So don't tell me people start getting decrepit at 35. You might be losing a little bit if you let yourself go, but if not, no, sorry. That is, I read it and I didn't care when I was 20, but at 46, I really care that I should not have to make a 35-year-old character who's 12 years younger than me and making decrepit rolls. Okay, rolling for your characteristics. Rolls the dice 4 times for his characteristic. Gets the following result. 6 minus 6 is 0, 7 minus 4. So how do you do this? Next step is determine your characteristics. How strong are you? How fast? Each character has a number associated with it, describing your native aptitude in that area. These numbers are used. Oh, rolling your character. Oh, rolling character. You roll against another player? Wow, I don't think I ever used that. I don't think this is the way that we did. See, again, you're immediately you haven't even made a character and you're immediately competing with other players. And we use the purchase method. Each character gets up to 7 points on positive scores in the 8 characteristics. Each point spent buys a point in the single characteristic. So if you spent 3 points on strength, you have +3. You cannot have a characteristic score of 6. +5 is the high as they go. I guess the rolling method allowed you to get those super high rolls. But you can get super low rolls as well. I guess this has a negative characteristics too. Intelligence, perception, strength, stamina, presence, communication, dexterity, quickness. I might have could have read this before I started making a character. It has been probably 20, at least over 20, 25 years since I've played this game. You must take at least as many negative characteristic points as you do positive. In effect, each positive point buys a negative characteristic point. Thus, if you buy +3, you have -3 that must be spent elsewhere. These points can be spent on a single skill or divided amongst several. Ah, okay, I get it. You get up to 7 points to spend on positive, but then you have up to 7 that will go negative. So I'm going to be a companion. Let me just make some type of fighter type character. So I think this was for some type of specialty. I think my characteristics. Do that again from here from the top. I think this was some type of specialty. Yeah, specialty, and then the actual characteristics would be over here. So I can get up to 7. So let me put +2 +1. That's 3 +2 +1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, let me actually do dexterity. Seven. Okay, so then I split the other ones. Let me just try to do the same type of thing. So out of everything, presence, communication. Let's do communication. -3, -2, -1. And again, even here, it's like hard to read. Sorry, any role playing company that does this, make it so that you can read a character sheet even if you've lightened it. You can make them look all pretty, but if they're not functional, they're not functional. Okay, so my intelligence is a -2, perception is -1, strength is +2, stamina is +1, presence -2, communication -3, dexterity +3, quickness +1. Okay. Now, I could do all these virtues and flaws, up to 7 points, like advantages, disadvantages, perks, feats, and then the negative aspects of it. Again, I didn't do that with other games a lot, except for games that you need to, like a Torg Eternity, you get to begin with. I'm not going to do it on this, um, basically because there'd be a lot of me trying to flip and figure out which one to min max, and then flaws. And whenever you get into social or things like that, as a flaw and a mechanical benefit for an advantage, um, that is where things kind of get screwy. I tend not to like disadvantages that give you points to buy advantages. Always a way to min max that type of thing. Skills, abilities, I guess I call it. Talent, skills, knowledge. Step 4. Abilities are what you know. Experience points. So here's a basic. So depending on what type you get, I guess that's what you get. So companion can speak their own language at a 5. Frogs speak it at a 4 and get brawl at 1. Then a magoose gets a bunch of stuff. Choosing abilities. They talk about inventing abilities. Huh. How many points do we start off with? Jesus. Pick. Okay. All characters get a starting number of experience points equal to twice their age. Ooh, that is not okay. So if you're 34, boom, you get a bunch of experience points, and then you don't have to worry about age at the beginning. 35, though, you might be decrepit, but you get 2 more experience points. I can already see, wow, something I completely forgot in this game, and I don't quite like, because I know some young people that are a lot smarter than and a lot more skilled than older people I know. So I'm not. This is a mythic Europe, but oh, if I did this game again, I would definitely change. I would just flat out everybody starts with X many experience. Okay. So then, and then here's a call. To get your first is 1 point. To get your second is 3 points. Third is 6. So basically, this is just a buying up. Because if you bought it at 1, it would be 1 point, and then you would buy it at 2 for 2 points. So to buy it from 0 is 3 points. Simple base cost. The seventh would be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 and plus 7. So, as you can see, basically a third would cost 6, 4 more points would be 10, 5 more points 15, etc. So let me start at 20 years old. That gives me 40 points. Then I get speak language. At 5. And I guess you would put experience into it, and then once it made it, it would go up. Maybe that's how it is. They require you'd get experience, and maybe they required you to spend it, which is what I actually did in my original Dunamis game. So I have no idea if that might have been influenced by this, because that was at least 5-6 years later. I wasn't actually looking at this game any longer. So speak languages is what I get, and where is the looking for that ability skill list thing? Okay, talent. Still kind of like it seems strange. Got physical talent, physical skills. Why would those be skills? Why wouldn't they all just be called skills or talent? Well, these are what you know. Hmm. Okay, so I'm just going to go down the list and kind of see what might be there, and then figure out how many points to put there. So awareness, alertness, scan, search. My perception is a -1, so that might be a decent. Do the skills tell what they're based on? Huh. Maybe it's something like a skill adds to an attribute. I don't remember. So let me just go through all these abilities and see what might be alertness. I'm going for a fighter, warrior, mercenary type person. So those are kind of the skills, abilities that I'll be looking at. Direction sense. Athletics, climb, dodge. Brawl and ride. The weapon skills. See description. So I at least want some type of weapon. I'll just write weapon there. So basically, I'm taking athletics, direction sense, Is athletic twice? Huh. Somehow I wrote it down. Oh, alertness. Sorry, I can't even read my own writing. Again, it's hard to see. Alertness, direction sense, athletics, climb, dodge, brawl, ride. Sometimes weapon skill. So if I go to my chart, I can see how to distribute these 20. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I need to get it to 2 is going to be 3 points. That's going to be too many. So a couple of these are going to be at 1. So let me put a direction sense and alertness at 1. And then if I do the other ones all at 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20. Oh, I got 40. 40, sorry. Yeah, it's double your age. Um, so I spent half my points, so I could probably get some of these up more. 3, 6. Just get my weapon 4. 10. Weapon, skill, increase, so that is 10. And third is 6. Sorry, I wanted to get it to 4. That's sorry. I wrote down the experience that I spent, not the rank or level that I wanted to get it to. Let me get a couple of these. 3 dodge. Let me get the 3. That's gonna be 6 points. $34. So 4 more points. To get one at 2 and one at one more skill or ability, whatever they call them. 1 and 1 at 2. So I would just get, say, another type of weapon and get that one at 2. And then let's look at something else. Tracking. Track at 1. So for my 40 points, it's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Oh no, 12 plus 6 be 18, 21, 24. The 4 is 10, would be 34. I think that's right. 1, 2, 6, 18, 24, 35. I can get my tracking at 2. Alertness at 2, direction sense at 2, athletics at 2, climb at 2, dodge at 3, brawl at 2, ride at 2, some weapon at 4, some weapon at 2, and tracking at 2. I don't have to do spells because I'm not doing a Magoose, a mage. Finishing touches. So this is when I would figure out all those things. Equipment. Further appearance, all of that, personal history, quirk, size. There's medium unless you pick something. Here's where they virtue and flaws. Here's where they get all that. So basically, what I would do now is I would get equipment, armor, weapons, figure out how damage does, how protections work. This is a system, if I remember right, it's similar to L5R, where you go up different wound levels depending, and you get negatives to your rolls depending on it, and they had fatigue levels as well. So I'll go ahead and say that this is a good skeleton. I don't even know if I want to call it a full character, but a decent skeleton. Went through all the choices that would make everything else would be a derivative of it. So let's go with a name. You kind of picked a place in Europe that you could be from any place. I do recall in our campaign we were in Germany, so let me play. I guess even kind of like the what was it, the Warhammer game that I did. Um, so Wilhelm. Oh, I don't know. We just call him Wilhelm. He doesn't even have a last name. This is Wilhelm or Wilhelm, the fighting type companion for Ars Magica. Again, this was a system apparently I liked, and then when I reread it just now, after over probably around 25 or so years, I already see things that I probably would change just because what fit me back then doesn't quite fit me now. Or I would look into maybe the fifth edition and see how things have changed and what's changed and how they do character creation and stuff like that. But this was a pretty fun game. I will say that I really enjoyed it. I liked the mythic Europe aspect of it. As you know, if you watched other videos of mine, my degrees are in anthropology and classics, Greek and Romans, but I also had a lot of medieval history classes, world history classes, things like that. So this was kind of a fun thing to do. And I guess I will go ahead and stop that here. So if you like the video, you can hit like. If you dislike, you can hit dislike. Subscribe if you want. And I'll be doing these, I guess, for 11 more days. And then after that, I hopefully will no longer be doing character creation challenge and can get to normal content and streaming. Whenever I start my new game, I'll be one game will probably be streaming and the other would be recording and posting it on this channel. So until next time, I will catch you later.